What's happening, Panda Nation? Peter from Panda here. If you want colored brake calipers and you don't have them, I guess you're out of luck. Unless you buy something like this. This is a brake caliper paint system. I've actually bought something by this company before. It's called G2, although the logo isn't really obvious G2 there. But, I did these on my Prowler in the gold paint, and I really liked it. And the big thing about for this set over some of the other types of paints out there is that it was basically like a brush on set, because I did not want to spray it because you got to mask up the car and the wheel well, and I just didn't want to overspray because I have a handful of cars in my garage now, and I just felt like it was going to get on other cars and other stuff. And I'm pretty good with a brush. So what we have here, we have non-chlorinated brake cleaner, which is actually awesome. I didn't expect or know that it was coming with the cleaner in there, so that's a pretty nice gift because you're gonna have to clean that out. And then in this box or this bag here, everything's falling everywhere. We have helpful hints. We have a G2 sticker. We have a stirring stick. And we also have a brush for applying it, which is actually really nice, so that I don't have to dip into my art supplies and do that myself. Now, the brake caliper paint system that I got here is yellow, and as you can see, it's the G2161 yellow, and that's a pretty bright yellow. I like that they give you a little sample on the top there. It might be hard to see, but it's I don't know, it's a little maybe oranger than taxi cab yellow, but it's a true yellow, so that's pretty nice. People have asked in the comments, is it a little tangerine-ish? No, I would say maybe just a little bit of like brown mustardy, but yellow, and that should work really nicely on my calipers. Now you get 4 ounces of it here in a gloss finish. When you brush it on, it is pretty self-leveling, but it doesn't go on as smooth as, obviously if you're spraying it. But I think on brake calipers, especially at the kind of the show car level that I'm at, which is 0, it doesn't have to be perfect. I just am trying to get that color, get them to pop a little bit. And on my Audi, because the car is so dark, I really wanted a little bit of color, and I'm not a red guy. I really like yellow. If I ever get a black sports car, I'm going to paint those calipers yellow too. Now here's the hardener, or the reactor, and so you have to mix these things in the right amounts. And so what you get here is a little instruction booklet, and I want to say you pour the entire jar of reactor into there. So it's pretty simple. They make it pretty simple. So we're going to take off the wheels, get the car jacked up. I'm going to use the brake cleaner, scrub up the calipers, and then we're going to paint this on and see what it looks like before and after on my Audi. Let's give it a try. All right, and here's my Audi, and this is the before. So you can see here, the front calipers are actually really big. Man, those need to be cleaned up. So we got some rust and whatnot on there, brake dust. And then back here, kind of that standard smaller rear caliper. But again, just gray, metallic. You can't even really see them, especially in this front one. I think it's so big, man. That one's going to stand up a little bit, but I think a nice set of yellow calipers on there should be pretty obvious, a little dramatic. I got the calipers cleaned up as much as I can with my brush and brake cleaner, and I'm just having them dry, and then we will go ahead and mix the hardener of the paint, and I'm just going to start brushing it on. Well, there's something to be said for the spray-on stuff. I think just getting in there and working it with a brush is kind of backbreaking and time-consuming. I will also tell you that it kind of goes on a little bit thin, and the paint starts getting kind of tacky. So you do have to do a couple of coats. And in fact, on the fronts here, I did 2 coats, and then 1 more coat right on the outward-facing side, not really on that inboard side. On the backs, I just did 2 coats, and as you can see here, I don't know if it's going to come across on the camera, but I can see a little bit of the gray of the caliper poking through, and that's going to have to be good enough. I think I would actually have to take like a heat gun or a hair dryer and dry this up a little bit and then put on another coat. Now, again, because of how big those front calipers were, I used a ton of paint. I mean, I guess these aren't really abnormal, but they're just so big. I just used a ton of paint on it. And so I really actually don't have that much paint left. I only have maybe, a fifth or a sixth of maybe what it came with. So it's going to have to be good enough for now. So I'm going to let this dry, and then, as you can see, I'm still got a little paint drip in here. So I'm going to let that dry before I put the wheels on, make sure I don't get anything on there. Pros and cons, it's a day later, and I've let this dry, and it's pretty dry. It's kind of a hard enamel, but it might be a little hard here with the bright light. It may look very yellow, but because the calipers are cast, and the paint actually does a pretty good job of self-leveling, what you get are these high spots where kind of the texture of the castings, kind of pokes through. And so I've got these like gray, they almost kind of look like green because they're right next to yellow, but you can kind of see that right there, right? Where it's kind of shining through. Now, if I step back and just at a glance, they actually look all right. But what I was going to do here is take the paint and then do another coat right on the front. But what I saw as I was reading about it, whether I could reopen the can, is that you have to use the paint when you add the hardener within 6 hours, 4 to 6 hours, and then it's not usable apparently. So that's what they recommend. And because I didn't want to open it back up, put another layer on here and not have it cure or adhere to it and start flaking off or something, I thought, as it is, it's probably all right. And so that's just how I'm going to leave them for now. Again, maybe not as thrilled as I could be. And it seems like guys that spray it maybe get a little more even, and maybe because it's so easy to hit it with a little spray multiple times when it's all masked up, that you can put 4 or 5 coats on it throughout the day and kind of build that up. But we'll see. It's better than it was, I guess. So let's get the wheels on it. Got the wheels back on, and I will say here that I'm happy. And I won't say that I'm thrilled. This is definitely not my best custom work ever, but I do get a little bit of that tasty yellow through the wheels there, and that's really what I wanted, especially kind of, not that my car is murdered out or sinister in any way, but, the gray as well as the gray wheels were meant to just kind of darken it up, and so having a little bit of color there, I think helps quite a bit. I've definitely seen the gray and the black cars with red calipers. Red is just not my favorite color. I'm sorry about not having real glamour shots here. It is winter and we've got snow on the ground, and so there's really no way for me to take it out and get some awesome glamour shots, but you can get an idea here. And like I said, right now maybe I'm a little sensitive to it just because the wheels are clean, but when you get brake dust on there, grime and road debris and things like that, it's not going to look the greatest anyway. But right now it's pretty shiny and you can see it. So anyway, there it is. G2 brake caliper paint. I did gold on the Prowler, which you can see back there. And I like that, but it's pretty subtle. Wanted to go a little more obvious, a little bit more in your face with the yellow on this. And I like it. Definitely could be better, but for, 30 or 40 bucks for the paint and a little bit of elbow grease, I think nice little finish. Check it out. I'll put a link to the brake caliper paint in the description below if you want to do it brushing it on. Save me from asking. Peter Von Panda, out.